Well, hello everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. I'm grateful that you took the time to join us. Tonight is an educational conversation about GLP-1 medications, what they are, how they work in the body, and why they've become an important tool in metabolic health when used responsibly and under medical guidance. We'll touch on both benefits and risks a little bit with a strong focus on clarity and education. And I am honored to be joined tonight by Dr. Jason Pensick. Jason is a doctor of chiropractic and family nurse practitioner, specializing in longevity, regenerative, and functional medicine. He began his medical career as a registered nurse, later earning dual doctoral and advanced practice training to bridge structural, metabolic, and hormonal care. Jason focuses on peptide therapy, hormone optimization, IV therapeutics, regenerative injections, and metabolic health. He just does a little bit, not much. He runs an established longevity clinic serving thousands of patients and educates practitioners nationwide. His work emphasizes mitochondrial health, inflammation control, and health span extension through evidence based, physiology first protocols. And Jason is known for translating complex science into practical clinical strategies for modern medicine. So, all that said, he's your guy. If you want to talk about peptides, GLP-1s, whatever it is, he is your guy. If you don't follow him on social media, make sure that you do. He is loved by many because he knows his stuff. So, tonight's Zoom, just so that you know, is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. Our goal is for you to leave feeling informed and empowered. And with that being said, we're going to get started. So, Dr. Pensick, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us tonight. And I can't wait to talk to you. So, just to get started, I just want to say we know that GLP-1s seem to be a bit of a buzzword. I'm sure that everybody here tonight has obviously heard about it, right? It's everywhere. They're everywhere on social media. It's in the news. It's in conversations. Yet a lot of people still don't really know like what they are or how they work. So if everybody could maybe mute, I don't know if I can mute all. Let's
You
see.
can.
Okay, I know, and I gotta. This is the stuff. There we are. Mute all. Okay, and then Pensick, you're just gonna have to unmute. So before we get into the benefits or risks, can you explain at a simple foundational level what GLP-1s actually are and what they do in the body? Let's just start basic.
Yeah, of course, Joey. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to
Yeah,
be here. My beautiful background is in Chicago, if anyone wants to know. Um,
love it.
so GLP-1 is a glucagon like peptide 1. It's a whole class of peptides slash drugs now. They came out in 2007. Exenatide was the first one. It's been out for many, many, many years now. Again, 2007 when it first came out. We had many others since then. We've had liraglutide, and there's obviously semaglutide. Now there's tirzepatide with retatrutide on the horizon coming out. Basically, these are the original ones were all GLP-1s. And then what happened is they added things to tirzepatide. They added a GIP as well. So they added another peptide to this to help improve the weight loss potential and also diabetic potential. You have to remember these GLP-1s were designed originally for diabetes. That was their original goal intent. Now, these companies realized there's a lot of benefit from having weight loss as well. What we really want to focus on and what I always want to focus on is metabolic health. So losing weight is part of the process, but is not the full function of why I use GLP-1s in practice. I love them because I can improve metabolic health of all my patients. So what do GLP-1s do? Well, they increase satiety. So they go to the brain, hypothalamus, and say, hey, you shouldn't eat as much. Makes you more satiated, more full. They also slow stomach emptying down. So your stomach slows down the emptying. This is originally was designed for when it was first discovered in the Gilead monster. Everyone talks about this Gilead monster. It's a reptile found in the desert. It was found in the venom. Everyone freaks out about this.
Yeah.
It was never used in the venom for poison for an animal. What it was used for is that actual Gilead monster, the reptile, eats about once a month. You're in the desert, you can't find food that often. The whole point of it was to slow its own stomach emptying down. So it'd slow down far enough that that food digestion would take it a long, long, long time. So it'd stay full for a very long time and wouldn't be hungry again. So you couldn't find meals for a while. So it was designed for the exact thing we use in humans for, which is slowing stomach emptying down. It also works on the brain, on dopamine levels. So it helps work on with your addiction or craving. So anyone out there that's craving alcohol, sugar, you name it, I'm using my addiction patients, my GLP-1s. Um, it has some anti-inflammatory benefits. It's just so many things that GLP-1s work on. But the biggest thing was working on the metabolic system. GLP-1 is an incretin. It's basically going to raise your insulin level. It's going to the pancreas and push out more insulin. And so is GIP. GIP and GLP are incretins, and they're going to, again, push out your insulin, raise insulin levels, which helps drive more sugar into really your muscles. It's the biggest organ to basically hold all the sugar. And because of this, we lower blood sugar. We also help patients get this hemoglobin A1C, which is our blood sugar level all the time, down, and overall help with metabolic health, helping improve the way our body handles and processes carbohydrates. So the biggest thing it's being used for right now.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. That was very thorough, as I expected it would be. Very good. There's a lot of fear mongering around GLP-1s, and feel
Mhm.
free if you guys have questions in the chat. I will do my best. I know that he and I have done this before, and we don't always get time for questions. But if you do have questions, please feel free to ask, and I'll try to pop over there at the same time and see if we can answer some of them. But some of the fear mongering that I hear about is that it causes cancer or blindness. Can you touch upon that a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
My favorite
here
is
we
the
are again.
blindness one. Yeah. Nanion. So this is a condition that basically causes blood loss to the optic, basically the optic disc. And what happens when this is going on? You go blind. Now, this happens more frequently in diabetics. Happens more frequently in obese patients. Are we seeing this with semaglutide? Well, there is a study that has come out and said it's a 1 in 10,000 risk, and there's studies that have come out and said there's a zero increased risk. So we have to figure it's probably somewhere between 1 in 10,000 and not at all. There might be some correlation. It's still going to happen more in diabetics, and it's going to happen more in your patients with obesity, as well as patients that go in high dose, right? Typically, most of the people using GLP-1s, at least in this group, are not going to be getting to the highest dose of GLP-1, right? The dose is the poison. So if you're going up higher, there's more risk of this stuff. 1 in 10,000, if that's the risk of the blindness, puts you at about the risk of getting hit by lightning or getting in a car accident when you get up and go to work the next morning and dying. Not even car accident, but dying from a car accident. So it's very, 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 very low risk if it even happens at all. I remember seeing the big report. Everyone keeps seeing 1,800 cases suing, Novo Nordisk. I want to remind all of you, there's about 30 million prescriptions have been written for this. 30 million, and that doesn't include all the compounding pharmacies, people like LEMD that are also getting this. This is just from prescriptions from Novo Nordisk. 1,800 out of 30 million is a pretty low number, even if it's real. So the studies have shown there is very low risk of this happening, at least the anion. So likely not going to happen to most people out there. Secondarily, we throw things like pancreatitis is another thing. It's about a 0.1 percent risk of happening. There's gallbladder attacks, which can also happen. There's again 0.1%. Medical gastroparesis, where your stomach slows down enough. Now, this is part of what happens, right? Gastroparesis, slowing down the stomach emptying, is part of what this does. Medical gastroparesis is when you actually go to the hospital because something has happened to the point that you could no longer empty your bowels. Your stomach is slowed down enough, you're in the hospital. This is still very, very low, less than a percent. So these major, major risk factors that are occurring are incredibly low risk. The cancer risk, everyone worries about thyroid cancer. It's a black box warning. Guess what? We haven't seen it yet in humans. So it was found in lab animals. GLP-1s are uptaken into the thyroid 3 times higher than they are in humans. So they are now hypothesizing what happens to animals because it's 3 times higher than it happens in humans. So therefore, it is unlikely we'll see this in humans. In fact, what we like about GLP-1s is that losing weight actually reduces your risk of cancer. And GLP-1s also reduce your risk of cancer for breast, prostate, stomach cancers. Now, so you're going to see reduction of cancers in these areas. Now, it also reduces inflammation. When you reduce inflammation, you reduce your risk of cancer. Every 10 pounds you lose, roughly, if you're overweight, you have about a 10% risk reduction of a multitude of cancers. So the people that are afraid of getting cancer on this, it's almost a 0% chance this happening. They have
Wow.
not found a correlation yet that's going to say, hey, you're going to get cancer from being on this. In fact, quite the opposite. There's less of a risk of you getting cancer from being on this. There's all these risk factors we reduce, but we very rarely see any of these risks, go up. Again, is there a risk of nausea? Absolutely. This is one of the most common things that happen. Is there a risk of fatigue? Absolutely. This is one of the common things that happen. We also see people get, problems with acid reflux, heartburn. This is another common one. Loose stool, constipation, another common one. These are the things that people are seeing the most commonly. These are not the things that you're running to your doctor and saying, "Oh my God, I'm dying." So again, the high risk things that we're seeing that everyone is worried about are extremely, extremely low risk. And you have to remember the benefits of the GLP-1s that we're seeing right now for long-term use, for things like heart disease, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, they're going to blow away the risk that's happening. Now, do you want to be the one person this happens to? Absolutely not, right? That's no one wants to be the one person that happens to have pancreatitis happen. I can say in clinical practice now, I've had several thousand patients be on GLP-1s with me. I have seen one single pancreatitis patient who had other comorbidities going on. It wasn't just a patient there for weight loss. He had other things. And the doctor even called me after the pancreatitis in the ER and said, "I don't think it's related completely to this. He had these other cofactors. He likely had this because of his drinking problem, not because of the GLP-1." So I do tell patients, even in my own practice, I have not seen these things in the thousands of patients that I've had. So I see this every day. We are treating this all day, every day. In fact, a lot of the questions that here you're asking me, Joey, it's
Mhm.
funny. I just talked to, in fact, I talked to a doctor today. I had a doctor from Ireland call me. He owns several practices in Ireland. He uses GLP-1s in his aesthetic practice, and he himself has not started taking GLP-1s. And he needed me to talk to him and convince him to take GLP-1s. So he called.
Wow.
We had a consult today, and he was sitting there saying, "Well, same things I'm getting asked right here. Same exact things." And this guy's another medical professional who is prescribing this on a daily basis to many professionals. He's an aesthetics practice, right? Most
Wow.
of the people who are here know of a med spa that's probably selling GLP-1s. They're, throwing them out all the time. He's using them a lot. And his, issue is he come to me and said, "Hey, I see the problem. I hear all these things, right? I know you say these great things. I know inherently they're good for me, but even he's scared to take this stuff, right? And he's prescribing it." So I love the dichotomy, right? I'm using stuff in practice, and he's a little bit nervous. And he also said the worry he has is getting the weight back. That's the next thing everyone says. Well,
Hmm.
I don't want to gain the weight back, right? Everyone here says, "I've heard this is great. Great, lost the weight. I'm not scared to take it, but I don't want the weight to come back." That's when you have to start looking at hormones, using things like growth hormone peptides. One of the biggest things we see with these peptides, with seeing the GLP-1s, is weight loss also has muscle loss. Between semaglutide and tirzepatide, semaglutide has about a 50% muscle loss. Tirzepatide has about a 60 to 70% fat loss, 30% muscle loss. This is if you do nothing. Remember this, these are done in people that were sedentary, they weren't exercising, they weren't doing anything to keep muscle on. This is why when you come to see someone like Joey, you're with LAMD, we're always going to push you to eat more protein and please do some strength training. These patients this guy is seeing is telling me the same thing. I'm seeing patients come back. I'm like, "Well, what are you counseling them on?" "Well, we give them the GLP-1s. "Well, what are you telling them?" "Well, we're telling them they should eat more protein." Okay, that doesn't mean much to anyone. What does more protein mean? "Look, I ate, 30 grams of protein today. Should I eat 50 tomorrow?" "Yeah, probably even more." I'm always telling
Right.
patients between zero point 0.8 to 1 milligram of protein per ideal pound of body weight. So if your goal weight is 150 pounds and you're currently weighing 170 pounds, we're going to try to eat 150 grams of protein a day, somewhere right around there. Now, if your goal is 50 pounds weight loss, I'm typically splitting the difference. Hey, we want a little bit between the goal weight and, it gets high enough that we might change metrics here. But I'm always telling people protein first, and I need strength training. The biggest concern we have is you lose muscle mass. When you lose muscle mass and you come off these, what happens is you have a lower metabolism. That's the biggest thing everyone freaks out about because they eat the same amount of food and all of a sudden they're skyrocketing their weight because then we lost muscle mass. No one wants to be skinny fat, right? No one here wants to
No,
be skinny
no.
fat. We want body composition. Look, we all want to look better naked. The number on the scale is great, but what do I look like naked? Like, I want that six pack abs. I want that toned body. I'm not looking to be the same body type, just lighter. Like, I want to look a little bit better with this. This is why
Right.
we push protein. We push things like testosterone, ipamorelin. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, this is going to be my cue, or this. I listen, and I love all this information. It's so good, but I do want to ask a couple of questions. Number one,
Go ahead.
what is like the bare minimum of movement? I think we talked about this before, and I think you said even if you're just
Mm,
walking 3 or 4 times a
30
week,
minutes.
even 30 minutes.
Yeah. I like 30 minutes to my patients. 30 minutes, 3 times a week is my minimum. That's like my minimum to see some kind of muscle mass being held.
Okay.
I mean, most of these patients in the studies weren't doing anything. They were barely moving. So this is 30 minutes of like not just your day. This is past your day. Hey, I walked 30 minutes to my job today. No,
Right.
no, no. I need you to do 30 minutes above what you're normally doing, minimum. I would love if people strength train twice a week. If I get 30 minutes of strength training, doing squats, doing lunges, I don't care, lifting some weights, something, 30 minutes twice a week would also be wonderful. I would prefer the strength training over them walking, but minimum 30 minutes 3 times a week.
Okay, perfect. And then my next question is, I know that one thing that I hear a lot is I'm just not hungry. And I myself, I lost over 35 pounds on a GLP-1. Okay. So
Congrats.
I know what that, thank you. I know what that feels like, right? So my question is, would your advice be to that person who says, I'm just not hungry? To me, that's a trigger for maybe they need to titrate down a little bit. Maybe that
Oh
dosage
yeah.
is too high because you need to get to that sweet spot where you're still hungry. You still need to nourish your body, you guys, right? Am I correct in saying so? I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but from my experience, this is what I'm thinking. Correct? Yes.
So Joe, you're making me laugh. I got a retatrutide recently. So retatrutide is the newest of the GLP-1s. Ellie doesn't have it yet, but eventually I'm sure they will. It is very strong. I've been on GLP-1s for about 2 years myself. I accidentally gave myself too much on accident. I mean, I gave my patients the dose I typically give as the top dose just to see how I'd feel because I want to test everything myself. I'm the guinea pig. If I do it first, then I feel really comfortable giving to patients. And I accidentally lost about 7 pounds in about a week and a half. Now, the problem with that extreme weight loss is that when you have extreme weight loss, you're going to lose muscle mass. It is guaranteed. So when you're telling people titrate down, they're not hungry, they're not eating enough yet, you're going to lose weight a lot quicker, which means you're guaranteed to lose muscle mass. I am so angry at myself that I lost this much weight. I mean, it really affected my gym time. I'm going there, I'm less strong. It made me really frustrated because I'm not trying to lose weight. But I did very much understand what patients are going through, which is, hey, if I don't eat the minimum amount of protein, I'm going to lose weight. That is guaranteed to happen, especially women out there, men out there. If your hormones are not optimized, let's say you don't have enough testosterone to build muscle, you lost a bunch of muscle that is incredibly hard to put back on if you're not taking some kind of testosterone to improve muscle mass. This is the other thing I can tell people. If you're not getting your hormones checked and you're not seeing what your testosterone level is, your testosterone is mid range, low range, when you lose that muscle mass, it is so much harder to put on without having hormones. So losing that kind of weight and not having any hormones on board with someone for someone else, that's extreme. If I was to come off right now, I hit my goal weight, I'm going to gain that weight back immediately because I don't have that muscle mass that I lost. So yes, that protein that I missed from not being hungry, I didn't eat. I was just not didn't think about it. Great, great thing for most people. I don't think about food at all. Wonderful. But if you're not getting enough protein in, you're going to have major problems. You will lose muscle mass and you will complain later on. I lost so much, which is good at the time, but now my metabolism's really slow and I can't keep the weight from coming back quickly. So please
Yeah.
go down and titrate down when you're
Okay,
having that
so
happen.
that brings me to my next, and we only have like 10 more minutes, which is not great because we could talk for an hour about this, right? Okay, so with that being said, would you advise that once you get to your goal weight or as you approach your goal weight, would you titrate down and maybe maintain on a microdose? Because I know for myself,
Mm.
the inflammation being gone, it's wonderful. Like I don't have joint pain. I can tell my body just feels, but I feel better holistically. So I intend on being on it long term at a very low dose. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Great thing. My postmenopausal women, my premenopausal, perimenopausal really is the best because those women are starting to see changes in the hormones. Progesterone starts first in women, and then everything else goes down. Estrogen leaves. When you lose estrogen, you're past the age of 50, 55, somewhere in that range, and estrogen is gone. Estrogen is an immune protective blanket that brings in all of your inflammatory markers down. Interleukin 6, interleukin 1 beta, TNF alpha. These things don't matter. They're just inflammatory cytokines. So when you lose estrogen, they go up, which means you have more inflammation. As you get older, more inflammation comes up. Guess what? These peptides, the GLP-1s, work on reducing these exact same inflammatory cytokines and bring them all down and help suppress them. I've just my video today, maybe it wasn't today's video, maybe it's today's video. Whatever I'm posting today, I think today or tomorrow's video is going to talk about this. And I was going to say my best anti-inflammatory peptide is GLP-1s. I love BP757. That's something else Ellie has, but that's for tissue repair and inflammation, tissue specific areas, recovery repair. When I'm talking about whole body systemic inflammation, GLP-1s win. So why do I want to be on GLP-1s long term? Why do I talk to patients about GLP-1s and they have arthritis? The inflammation comes down. When you bring inflammation down, pain levels come down, you can work out better, you have more ability, you have more energy because you're feeling better, less pain. So I am using them long-term in patients, and there is no belief in my mind the low dose I'm keeping weight off. The microdose, as we call it, or just really low dose, is going to be just keeping this inflammation down and helping longevity. It is not suppressing your appetite. It may have some appetite control when it comes to your cravings. So on a low dose for me, my craving control is super good. I still have all the hunger in the world, but it changes the dopamine and the way the dopamine patterns work in your brain. So you are craving reduction. So you are not wanting alcohol or sweets. I've had patients who stop biting their nails because they get on
Yeah.
a GLP-1. I've had patients who I don't want to stop liking broccoli and greens, which is not a great thing. Patients stop liking coffee. So it's going to work on all of the addiction pathways, all the cravings all go down. So even at a low dose, you see this start to happen. So at the bottom doses of tirzepatide, semaglutide, you see this happen. So yes, long-term, low dose is something I'll do forever from all the benefits. But again, it's not meant for weight loss. I want everyone to understand this is not a weight loss dosing at the micro/low dose. It is just meant for longevity and maybe helping control that craving control slightly. But no one should think suppressing appetite forever is a good thing. We do not want that. That is a bad thing. Today's video actually I did post was on appetite control using another peptide. But I don't want people to think that controlling your appetite forever and always having a low appetite is a healthy thing. We have to win on our own protein content. If you're eating that protein, I promise you, if you're eating your goal weight in protein, you are not going to eat more food. You're just not. It's so hard to get enough protein in. Almost everyone here is going to say it is so hard to hit that goal. The doctor talked today. He's like, I know this stuff. I can barely hit the protein goal I have right now. What will happen on GLP-1? And that's something everyone says. Well, great. Now you know. You should be working that goal every single day. That should be your goal. Every day should be your goal to get that much protein because you won't eat the other foods that are processed and really not helping you with weight loss or inflammation.
Oh, that's great. That's so good. Okay, so I think we have time for one more thing. And I'm going to ask you about the quality because it's
Huh.
not all created equal. And you know it, and I
Yeah.
know it, and we all know it. There's so many shady gray market things that are available, and it's always the next
What?
good deal. It's the next good deal, Mr.
No,
Penzick.
stop.
Yes, it's true.
Stop.
It's true. So let's talk about this because you guys, my gosh, I cannot stress this enough. Just because something is cheap, it doesn't make it better. This is an investment in your health. What you're putting in your body matters. The quality matters. Where it is sourced matters. Speak to me.
I actually got in a fight with another doctor on
Uh
Instagram about this yesterday. I posted a video about this probably a few weeks ago. I don't know when it was. Compounding pharmacies whenever possible. And this other doctor, surgeon, big influencer, like ripped me a new one, basically saying he just basically didn't like peptides. Nothing like peptides. He said none of them should be compounded. He also said GLP-1s are not legal to compound, which I would argue up and down all day. And my end of the day argument was, look, my only thing I tell people is compounding pharmacies whenever humanly possible. I don't care what compounding pharmacy, at least compounded. Do not go to labs. There have been numerous studies done on these things. The labs have LPS, which is endotoxins, and then they might have heavy metals in them. I had a owner of a pharmacy come up to me 2 weeks ago when I was in Vegas at a conference. And again, I'm buying from his pharmacy. He's not having to sell me on this stuff. I already understand this and talk about it. And he just said, I tested the top 10 companies. I found asbestos in one of them. Um, we found peptides that we found is the wrong peptide that they tested. I had a friend of mine that owned a peptide company. He owned a lab, did a really, again, not all labs are terrible. I have to at least say this in the first place. Not every single lab, but trying to sift through it yourself is
Right.
really not a thing I recommend to do. But this is why compounds exist. And this guy told me, he said he owned a lab. He was buying stuff from China, which is where they get it from. He had it shipped to him. He had it tested. The quality was terrible. The company said, hey, can you just do me a favor and forward this on to another company? So they want him to send this poor quality product to the next vendor down the list. And he's like, absolutely not. I'm throwing it away. Like, well, can you please send it? We'll give you new ones anyways. And he's like, no. So these companies are that shady that even if they fail testing, they want it passed to someone else. And some other company would have taken that and sold it to you. I have seen, I mean, I've been in the Reddit forums. I've seen all this stuff. I used to post prolifically on Reddit. People would post bottles with stuff in there floating around, black stuff. You're like, how did this get in here? No idea. So I can't say enough stuff about getting compounding pharmacies. That is the number one, the only reason I love Ellie, and I even sit here and support Ellie MD and support Honey and her company and why all the people are here is because she gets it compounded. That is my biggest thing. If this was, I'm not part of any labs. I don't affiliate with any labs. Plenty of them reach out to me and ask them, can you be an affiliate? Can you recommend them? I refuse to forever and ever and ever. I will never, ever recommend a lab. I'm
Yeah.
always going to recommend compounding pharmacies. And I believe LEMD has a wonderful pharmacy. They have great stuff. They're being tested. It's a phenomenal product they're using. So I will forever always say compounding pharmacies in general over labs. So please, I have patients of mine that buy this stuff and come see me, and they bring their peptides from place. I had a guy. In fact, I recently had a guy buy a peptide, come to see me. He had lymph nodes down his whole neck get lit up. He takes something called thymosin alpha 1, which is immune modulating peptide. And he goes, "What happened?" I said, "I have absolutely no idea." This rich patient, incredibly rich, multimillionaire, but he said my prices are too high. He's very sick. He's not doing well. And he said, I want to get it cheaper. I said, "That's fine." So when you come to me and tell me there's a problem, I can't tell you what happened because I have no idea where you got this from. I have no idea about the sourcing. And what he had happen was not supposed to happen with the peptide he got. What had happened to him was a really bad reaction from something in that product that shouldn't have been. I felt terrible for the guy. But again, he was being incredibly cheap when it comes to his own health. And he is such a sick individual. And
Right.
again, comes to me and says, "This is too expensive." Okay, sir, well, what is your health worth? Now you're in a worse deal.
Right.
This was 3 months after he got this injection. He still has lymph nodes lit up and he doesn't know what to do about it. Neither do I.
Right.
I get an ultrasound for him, but I don't know what to do at this point. So again, I can't recommend enough. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying to scare anyone out there. If you don't want to buy from LA, fine. Other compounding pharmacies,
Right.
but please, at the very least, buy from compounding pharmacies whenever you humanly can. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying across the board.
And first of all, thank you for all of this because it's now 8:29 and you're so fun. I love whenever we talk. It is so much fun. But I do want to this is the perfect time to tell all of you about LAMD. So just so that you know, we have, I'm going to say we, but it's LAMD, the company has board certified doctors in all 50 states with MDs, DOs that you would have access to. You can talk about whatever you need to talk about after you create that customer account and you've ordered your GLP-1 or your peptide. And we have 503A compounding FDA compliant pharmacies. Everything is triple filtered, rigorously third party tested, is made specifically for you in the United States and shipped to your door. That's pretty darn good. And that is why I love them. And I love the fact that you support us because that speaks volumes for the company. I trust you. The world trusts you, except for the social media star that was
Uh,
getting on you. But I think you put them in their place. But thank you so much. And if any of this for all of you resonated with you, please reach back out to the person who invited you. You do not have to walk this journey alone. Thank you so much, Mr. Pensick, Dr. Pensick, for joining us
so I can
tonight.
go work out now. I can get
You can
my
work out
exercise
now.
in.
Is this your second one for today?
It is. I did a hit
Yeah.
berries workout this morning. I'm about to go lift. I got some coffee next to me to have a little. I was
Perfect.
a little
Well,
tired
lift a
today, and
couple
my
weights for
NAD
us
to go.
too.
I will.
Hey, thank you all for joining. Please reach back out to the person that invited you. If you are with LEMD, I encourage you, if you're a brand partner, stick around for our huddle. Bye,
Thanks.
guys. Take
Bye.
care.